The sky over planet Elvara had turned red. Not from sunset, not from storms, but from war. Dust and fire rained down from the skies as alien warships clashed in orbit. On the surface, buildings crumbled, trees burned, and strange creatures ran for their lives. The capital city was no longer peaceful. It was a battlefield. Among the ruins, a young alien girl named Neva sprinted through the collapsing crystal corridors of her home. She was barefoot, her soft violet skin marked with cuts and her white ceremonial robes torn from running. Behind her, explosions echoed. She was no soldier. She was a stonecaller, one of the rare alien priestesses trained to awaken the power of ancient stone. But today, her power had betrayed her. Earlier that morning, Neva had tried to protect her sanctuary by calling on an ancient statue, a being made of magical stone. But the spell had gone wrong. The magic had bounced back on her. Now her fingers were hardening, turning gray. She was slowly turning to stone herself. Her heart beat faster with fear. She had heard the old stories. Once a stonecaller begins to petrify, there's no cure. Unless the legends were true. The story spoke of a rare being. A creature, immune to the curse of the stone. A creature with warm blood and strange biology. A creature called human. But humans were only myths to Neva's people. Some said they came from a distant blue planet. Others said they were long extinct. Either way, no one had seen one in over 100 years. Still, she had no choice. Her legs were starting to stiffen. The veins in her arms shimmered like cracked marble. She was running out of time. Just then, a blinding light exploded in the sky. Something crashed just outside the temple grounds. A metal object. A ship. She stumbled outside, hoping for shelter, but what she saw made her freeze. A tall, armored figure was crawling from the smoking wreckage, his helmet cracked, his face bleeding, his eyes wide with shock. He was human, and he was alive. Neva fell to her knees, not because of shock, but because her knees had completely turned to stone. She cried out in pain, reaching for him. Her voice cracked. "Help. Please. I don't want to die like this." The man looked at her stunned. He had no idea who she was, no idea what planet he was on. But in that moment, when he saw her eyes, full of fear, glowing softly like stars, he understood one thing. She needed him. He didn't speak her language. She didn't know his name, but somehow they both knew this moment mattered. He walked over to her, slowly, cautiously, and knelt beside her. The stone had already reached her waist. I don't know what to do," he whispered, touching her hand. The stone stopped for a moment, right at her rib cage. Neva gasped. His touch had halted the curse. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "You are real." The human, his name was Rain Carter, a crashed soldier from Earth, stared at her in disbelief. "I guess I'm your only hope now," he muttered. Above them, the skies still burned, but something had changed. In the ruins of war, a human and a half-stone alien girl had just created a bond, and this bond was about to change both their worlds. Rain Carter didn't understand what just happened. He had barely touched the alien girl's hand, and suddenly, the strange stone creeping up her body stopped, not slowed, not faded, just froze in place. He stared at her. She was like nothing he had ever seen. Her eyes were large and silver blue, glowing faintly in the dusk. Her hair floated gently in the air, like strands of moonlight. Even now, her lower half was stone, but her upper body still moved, barely. She trembled. "Please, don't move away." Rain hesitated. He looked at her legs, solid rock, and then at his hand touching hers. He kept it there, carefully. "Okay, I'm not going anywhere," he said gently. She blinked in confusion. His words meant nothing to her. But maybe His tone did. The war-torn temple around them crackled and shifted. Another explosion echoed in the distance. A ship crashed into the mountain behind them. The planet was still under attack, but Rain had other priorities now. This girl, this beautiful, mysterious girl, was turning into stone, and somehow, his touch was stopping it. But for how long? He pulled off his glove and held her hand properly, this time. Her skin was cool but soft. The stone didn't advance. Her breath grew steadier. Then she did something unexpected. She reached up and touched his face with her other hand. Her fingers trembled as she traced the shape of his jaw, the rough stubble, the cut on his cheek. "You're real," she whispered. "Human." He nodded, slowly. "Yeah, that's me." Her lip quivered. "Then, maybe I still have time." Rain didn't know what she meant, but he could see she was trying to hold back tears. "I don't know what happened to you," he said, "but I think I can help." She looked down at her legs, half turned into marble, then back at him. "You are warm. Your blood. It fights the curse." "Curse?" Rain repeated. She nodded weakly. "Stone calling. I made a mistake. The magic it reflects punishes me." Rain looked around. The crash site wasn't safe. Burning trees, falling rocks, air full of smoke. He looked back at her. "We need to move you somewhere safe. I cannot walk. Then I'll carry you." She stared at him in disbelief. "You would carry a cursed one?" Rain smiled. "You're half stone, half mystery, and fully out of options. Yeah, I'll carry you." Before she could respond, he gently slid one arm under her knees, stone and all, and one behind her back. She gasped as he lifted her. She was heavier than he expected, but he held on tight. Her head rested against his chest. She could hear his heart, strong and steady. The warmth of his skin kept the stone curse from spreading, even if just for now. They made their way toward the collapsed tunnel nearby. Rain saw a hollow space inside, safe from fire, wind, and falling debris. He laid her down gently on a slab of smooth crystal. "Here. This should do for now." Neva looked up at him, voice softer now. "Why? Are you helping me?" Rain sighed. "I don't really know. Maybe because you're the only living soul I've seen since I crashed. Or maybe because something tells me I'm supposed to." She smiled weakly. "Human, you may be my last hope." Rain sat beside her, never letting go of her hand. "I'm not a doctor, I'm not a wizard, but if my body keeps you alive, then I'm not moving." Outside, the war kept raging. But inside the cave, a fragile light flickered. A dying alien girl and a lost human soldier, bound by fate, touch, and something deeper. Neither of them understood yet. The cave was quiet, except for the crackling. A fire outside and Rain's slow breathing. Neva lay on the cold crystal slab, her body half stone, the rest trembling. Her eyes stayed locked on Rain as if he were the only thing keeping her in this world. And maybe he was. He sat beside her, holding her hand, skin to skin. He had removed part of his armor to stay warm next to her. Every time his skin lost contact with hers for more than a few seconds, the stone would begin creeping again. Every time he touched her, it stopped. "Looks like I'm your personal heater now," he joked softly. She didn't understand the words, but she smiled faintly. Then something strange happened. As he moved closer, a faint blue light began to glow beneath her skin. It started around her wrist, just under the stone edge, and pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Rain noticed it. "Whoa. Is that you?" She looked at her arm in shock. "The runes, they are awakening." "Runes?" he asked. Neva lifted her arm with great effort. Beneath the skin on her forearm, strange alien markings were glowing. Soft lines and circles all flowing toward her shoulder. They shimmered brighter the closer he got. "These are the ancient scripts of the Stonecallers," she whispered. "Only one who is chosen can make them shine." Rain blinked. Chosen? She nodded. You are not just halting the curse. You are awakening something buried in me. Rain leaned closer. What happens if all the runes light up? Don't know, she said quietly. No one ever survived the turning long enough. He gently touched another spot near her shoulder. More of the glowing marks appeared, faint, yet spreading. They seemed to respond to his warmth. And to his intent. It's like you're a living lock, she whispered, staring at him in wonder. And I'm the door. Rain wasn't sure what to make of that, but he kept his hand steady, moving up to her collarbone where the stone had stopped. Then, for the first time since the crash, Neva winced in pain. Her body arched slightly. Her chest glowed like fire beneath the skin, the markings moving faster now. She clutched his arm. Something is waking. I can feel it. It's not just magic, it's memory. My body remembers something. Someone. Suddenly, a sharp pulse of energy shot through her, and through Rain too. He gasped. His vision blurred. In that instant, he saw something that wasn't real, but wasn't a dream either. A huge golden temple. A room filled with stone statues. An ancient throne. And a human. A man with glowing blue eyes standing before a kneeling alien girl who looked just like Neva. The vision disappeared in a blink. He stumbled back, breathing hard. What was that? He muttered. Neva looked just as shaken. You saw it too. The old bond. What bond? She struggled to sit up, the glowing marks now covering her entire upper body. Long ago, our ancestors told stories of humans and stonecallers working together. One touches the mind, the other the soul. Together they unlock something. She looked down at herself. A power that can either destroy or heal. Rain looked at her seriously. Are you saying I could help cure you? Neva hesitated. Maybe. But if you go too far, it might break you, or worse. It might awaken the part of me that is not meant to be awake. The room went quiet. Rain slowly reached out again and touched the center of her glowing chest, right where her heart was. I'm already here. You don't have to face this alone. Neva stared at him, her lip trembling. No one ever said that to me before. Outside the cave, the war still raged, but inside, something ancient and powerful had begun to stir. A bond lost for centuries was returning, and the stone was only part of the curse. The real danger hadn't even begun yet. The cave had fallen into a strange stillness. Even the sounds of distant explosions seemed muted, like the world was holding its breath. Rain sat with his back against the wall, one hand resting gently over Neva's chest where the runes continued to glow. The light was soft now, but still alive. Like something beneath her skin was breathing, but something had changed. He could feel it. A cold wind passed through the cave. No door. No opening. Just wind. Then came the whisper. At first, Rain thought it was just a trick of his mind, but Neva suddenly tensed. You heard it too, she whispered. Rain looked around. Yeah, I did. The voice didn't speak words. Not in English. Not in her language either. It was deep, rumbling, like an echo from the bones of the earth. And yet, it somehow carried meaning. It said, "Release me." Neva's breath grew, shallow. Her hands gripped the edge of the slab. It's the curse, the true curse. It's not just magic, it's alive. Rain narrowed his eyes. You mean something's inside you? She nodded, terrified. The Stonecallers didn't only guard knowledge. We guarded something older, a being sealed in our bloodline. Every generation it sleeps, until one of us makes a mistake. Rain's voice was low. And you made the mistake. I tried to awaken a statue guardian, but the energy reflected. It didn't just turn me to stone. It woke the prison inside me. Suddenly the whisper returned, louder. The human Let him touch deeper, let me out. Rain's hand recoiled. Neva gasped, grabbing his wrist. No, don't pull away, you're the only thing keeping it quiet. But it's talking to me now, he said, shaken. I don't like the idea of something ancient inside you whispering in my head. Neva's voice cracked. If you stop, I'll turn to stone, completely. His hand returned to her skin, reluctantly. The runes stopped flashing wildly. The voice faded, but it didn't leave. Rain swallowed. You said this thing is sealed in your bloodline, so how do we put it back to sleep? There's an ancient ritual, she said. A bonding ritual. It requires a living soul to merge their energy with mine. It's dangerous, painful. If it fails and the curse escapes, if it works, the curse will sleep again. And let me guess, Rain muttered. That soul has to be human. She nodded, slowly. And willing. Rain stared at her for a long moment. You said I might break, or die, or worse. I won't ask you, she said, voice shaking. But if I turn completely to stone, the curse escapes anyway, and this entire planet may fall. Another whisper came, this time angrier. He is weak. His warmth is not enough. Let me out, let me feed. Rain shook his head. Whatever that thing is, it doesn't like me. That's why you're perfect, she whispered. Only someone it fears can stop it. He looked into her eyes. Neva, I don't even know you. I crashed here less than a day ago. I'm not a hero. She gave a faint smile. Neither am I. I'm just a girl who made a mistake. And now I carry something I can't fight alone. The light from her runes began to dim. The stone is starting again, she whispered. Rain sighed deeply, then placed his hand back over her heart. I'll do it. But we're going to find a way to win this. Together. Neva stared at him, eyes wide, glowing softly. You really mean that? He nodded. Let's shut this thing up. For good. Far beneath the planet's surface, the ancient force stirred again. Furious that the bond had begun. But it could do nothing yet. Not while the human kept his hand steady. Not while the girl still had hope. The cave was dim now. The flickering runes across Neva's body gave off the only light. Outside, the sound of distant war had faded, replaced by an eerie stillness, like the planet itself was waiting. Rain knelt beside her, removing the last of his upper armor to stay close. His warmth was the only thing keeping the curse from turning Neva fully to stone. She looked pale. Her lips trembled. The ritual must begin soon, she whispered, or I will be lost. Rain nodded. Tell me what I need to do. Neva blinked slowly, as if surprised by his courage. First, you must place your palm over my heart. Not just skin, but energy. You must offer your spirit. That sounds vague and terrifying, he muttered, but he did it anyway. He placed his right palm gently over the glowing mark at the center of her chest. It felt warm, then hot, then electric. Neva gasped. The runes flared. Next she reached out, fingers shaking, and touched his forehead. I must share the memory, she whispered. A pulse of light shot through them both. In an instant, Rain was no longer in the cave. He was standing in a vast ancient hall filled with stone statues, each one shaped like a different alien species. At the center was a throne, and chained to that throne was a creature made of shadow and fire. It lifted its head. Its voice crawled inside his skull. You don't belong here, human. Rain gasped and snapped out of the vision. Back in the cave, sweat ran down his face. Neva was breathing fast too, like she had run for miles. You saw it, she whispered. I saw it, he replied. That thing, it's not a curse. It's a prisoner. She nodded. Yes, my ancestors trapped it long ago. But every generation the seal weakens. I failed to protect it. He looked down at his hand, still glowing, where it touched her. So this bonding, It's like building a new seal. Not just a seal, she said. A link. If it accepts you, it sleeps. If it doesn't, it escapes through you. Rain's throat went dry. That's encouraging. Neva gave a faint, sad smile. There's no other way. She closed her eyes. Now focus. Think. Of a moment when you chose to protect someone. A pure memory. The ritual needs it. Rain took a deep breath. He thought of his sister back on Earth. How he once stood in front of her during a riot. Broken ribs, cracked jaw. But he didn't back down. She had survived because of him. As he remembered, the rune under his palm turned gold. Neva gasped. That's it. The bond is forming. But then, a crack echoed through the cave. A chunk of stone had formed on Neva's shoulder. The curse was still trying to win. Don't lose focus, she cried out. I'm trying. Rain yelled, his body shaking. This isn't easy. Suddenly, the whisper returned, louder than ever. Break him. Make him bleed. Then I will. Be free. Pain shot through Rain's spine. His hand burned like fire. He dropped forward, nearly collapsing. Neva cried out and grabbed his head, pulling it close. Hold on. Just a few seconds more. Rain pushed through the pain. He clenched his jaw. His eyes locked with hers. I'm not letting you die, he growled. With one final surge of willpower, he shouted, deep from his chest. A golden wave burst from his palm and flowed into Neva's body. The runes exploded with light. The cave shook. The whispers turned into a horrible scream. And then, silence. Neva fell back, gasping. The stone on her shoulder began to crack and fall away. Rain collapsed beside her, breathing hard. He was soaked in sweat, trembling, but alive. And so was she. Her voice was weak, but full of awe. You did it. The curse. It's gone quiet. Rain looked at her, dazed. Are you still turning to stone? She raised her arm. The stone was retreating, slowly turning back to flesh. Her eyes filled with tears. You saved me. He smiled faintly, exhausted. Well, halfway. Let's not celebrate yet, because deep in the ground, something still stirred. The curse wasn't dead. It was just sleeping, and it remembered the human who dared challenge it. Rain woke with a sharp gasp. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. The cave ceiling swirled above him. His body felt heavy, drained. His hand still burned faintly as if touched by fire, but the light was gone. Then he heard breathing. Soft, calm. He turned his head. Neva was still there, lying beside him, but different. Her skin, once pale and cracking like marble, was now flesh again, smooth, glowing faintly with warmth. The stone curse had retreated halfway down her legs. Her chest rose and fell slowly. She was alive. Rain smiled. We made it. Neva opened her eyes. Yes, you did the impossible. She sat up slowly. Her movements were weak, but no longer frozen. She touched her chest where the golden rune had been. The light was gone, but the mark remained etched like a scar. I can feel it, she whispered. The curse sleeps. But something else woke up. Rain sat up too, rubbing his temples. What do you mean? She looked toward the cave entrance, her expression tense. When a bond is formed like that, between human and stonecaller, it's not just between two people. She reached out and touched the floor. The crystal slab beneath them lit up with faint lines, ancient circuitry, buried in the stone, now glowing for the first time in centuries. This planet remembers, she said. It senses the bond. Suddenly, a pulse shot through the ground. Rain stood, alarmed. What was that? Neva's eyes widened. The temple network, its awakening. Across the broken world of Elvara, forgotten towers lit up one by one. Huge stone monoliths with glowing lines. Ancient machines stirred beneath deserts. Oceans rippled as sleeping guardians turned their eyes upward. They all responded to one thing: the human-touched bond. Back in the cave, Neva tried to stand, but her lower body was still too heavy with stone. Rain moved to help her. "Careful. You're not fully healed." "I don't think I have time to heal," she said. "Not with what's coming." Just then, the cave shook again. Not from war, but from movement. A low hum echoed through the walls. Then, a mechanical voice boomed. From above. "Bond detected. Human genetic match confirmed. Protocol Aegis reactivated." Rain stared up. "Did your cave just talk?" Neva's face was pale. "No, that's not the cave. That's the planet's defense system." Before he could respond, a bright blue beam of light shone down from the ceiling and scanned them both. Danger class entity dormant within host. Human stabilizer required. Extraction not recommended. Warning: incomplete merge may attract outer seekers. Rain raised an eyebrow. "What the hell is an outer seeker?" Neva looked at him slowly. "Things that come when they smell power. Creatures not from this world. Not even from this galaxy." Rain stood still. "So you're saying our little bonding session just lit up a beacon across the stars?" She nodded. Then the voice returned. Message sent. Coordinates locked. Host and stabilizer marked as key holders. "What does that mean?" Rain asked. Neva's eyes shimmered with worry. "It means they're coming." He helped her sit upright, gently lifting her against his shoulder. "Then we need to get moving." Neva touched his arm. "There's one place the old legends spoke of. The core temple. It holds the final key to reversing the curse forever." "And where's that?" "Far across the northern mountains," she whispered. "But we can't go alone." Suddenly the ground near the cave cracked, and a glowing stone guardian rose from the floor, 10 feet tall, covered in glowing runes. Its eyes scanned them both. It didn't attack. It knelt. Rain stared in shock. "Is it bowing to me?" Neva smiled softly. "The bond made you more than just a helper. You are now a part of this world's ancient order. You're the first human in history to ever be chosen." Rain looked at the guardian, then at the sky. "We better hurry. If we woke up one of those things, others definitely noticed." Far beyond the stars, dark shapes had already begun to shift. Massive alien creatures with glowing red eyes turned their heads. The hunt had begun. The stone guardian walked silently ahead of them, its heavy steps making the ground tremble. Its glowing blue eyes scanned the horizon, alert and watching. It didn't speak. It didn't need to. Its presence alone warned the wild creatures to stay away. Rain helped Neva walk, her arm wrapped around his shoulder. Her legs, once frozen in stone, had now softened, enough for slow, painful steps. The curse wasn't gone yet, but it was losing. They crossed through shattered forests, fields of crystal dust, and rivers that glowed in the dark. Strange birds watched them from the trees. Distant howls echoed behind them. Rain looked up at the sky. The sun here was dim, like it was hiding something. "How far is this core temple?" he asked. "Far," Neva replied, her voice still weak. "But the guardian will guide us. It only walks toward truth." He looked at the massive being ahead. "Well, let's hope it doesn't walk us into trouble." Neva gave a small smile. That would not be the worst thing coming. They traveled through the night. When Rain finally sat her down to rest, she was shivering. He removed his jacket and wrapped it around her. "Your body's still changing," he said. "It's not just the curse, is it?" Neva hesitated, then nodded. "The bond awakened something else. My body is shifting, adapting to yours." He blinked. "Wait, what? I don't mean like that," she said quickly, blushing faintly. "It's spiritual. My energy. It's merging with yours, so we can survive the ritual at the core temple." Rain looked at her carefully. And if we don't finish the ritual, I'll turn to stone again. And this time, I won't stop. Suddenly, the guardian raised its hand. It stopped walking. A moment later, the wind changed. The clouds above twisted unnaturally. The sky cracked with a loud tearing noise like paper being ripped by a giant hand. Rain stared up in shock. What the hell is that? Neva's face went pale. A rift. The sky split open. Not just clouds. Space itself broke. A swirling black hole tore across the heavens, and from within it came a shape. A creature. Huge. Insect-like. Covered in dark armor and tendrils. Its wings were made of screaming light. Its eyes were glowing red slits. An outer seeker. It hovered above them, silent at first. Then it let out a shriek that shook the trees and cracked stones. Rain instinctively pulled Neva close, shielding her. The guardian stepped forward. Its chest opened, revealing a beam of light. With a sound like thunder, it fired directly at the seeker. The alien shrieked, dodged the blast, and fired back. A bolt of black energy slammed into the ground, exploding the soil and tossing Rain and Neva backward. He rolled across the dirt, coughing. "You okay?" Neva groaned. "Yes, but the guardian won't last long." She was right. The seeker darted in and ripped off the guardian's arm with one strike. It fell to one knee, cracking and breaking. "Run!" she shouted. Rain grabbed her. "You can't run!" "Then hide." They ducked behind a fallen tree as the battle continued. The guardian fought hard. Beams, punches, even slamming the ground, but the seeker was faster. Smarter. And it was looking for them. Neva clutched Rain's hand. "If it finds me before we finish the ritual, it will tear the curse out and unleash it upon this world." "Then we don't let it find you," he said, eyes burning with resolve. From behind the tree, he looked at the glowing stone on her skin. It was pulsing. "I have an idea," he said. "But you won't like it." She stared at him. "What?" "I'm going to distract it. Give the guardian one more shot. He'll keep heading toward the temple." "Alone? I'll catch up." She grabbed his wrist. "You'll die." "Maybe. But I'd rather that than see you turn to stone again." She trembled. Then nodded. "I will find you. Don't die." Rain gave her a quick smile. "No promises." Then he took a deep breath and ran straight into the open. "Hey, ugly!" he shouted at the sky. The seeker turned its head. Its red eyes locked onto him, and it dived. The outer seeker screamed through the sky like a thunderbolt with wings. Its eyes, twin red slits of hate, locked onto the single figure now running across the battlefield. Rain Carter, human, unarmed, barely alive. And yet, he ran toward it, not away. The creature dove. Rain dove too. Not to flee, but to grab a glowing shard from the broken guardian's arm. The stone pulsed in his grip like it recognized him. He stood, heart pounding, holding it like a blade. "All right," he growled. "Come on then." The seeker screeched and struck. Rain rolled under its first slash. The earth split behind him. Dust exploded into the sky. The shard in his hand glowed, brighter. He turned and slashed upward as the seeker passed overhead. The sharp stone cut through its leg tendril. Green-black blood splattered across the ground. The seeker let out a shriek of pain and rage. It twisted midair and came back even faster. Rain's chest burned. The glow from the bond on his hand was flaring now. The shard in his hand lit with gold and blue runes reacting to him. He realized something then. The shard wasn't just a weapon. It was a key. A living fragment of the Guardian, and he had activated it. As the seeker lunged again, Rain stepped forward with the shard raised high and slammed it into the creature's chest. The stone exploded with light. A blinding shockwave blasted through the battlefield. The seeker screamed, a sound so loud it cracked trees in half, then flailed into the sky, wounded and twitching. Rain dropped to his knees, breathing hard. The creature rose once more, bleeding, wings broken, but no longer focused on him. It shrieked one last time and vanished into the rift, fleeing like a wounded beast into the stars. Silence returned. But Rain didn't celebrate. He collapsed. Blood ran down his arm. His legs refused to move. In the distance, Neva reached the top of a hill. She had watched everything. "Rain!" she screamed. She tried to run to him, but her legs gave out. The last of the stone was fading, but she wasn't healed yet. The guardian, now missing an arm and barely standing, dragged itself forward. It reached Rain's side and shielded his body with its last ounce of strength. Neva crawled forward, pulling herself with trembling arms, sobbing with every inch. By the time she reached him, Rain's eyes were fluttering. "You came back," he whispered. "You idiot," she cried. "You could have died." "But I didn't." She touched his face, then kissed his forehead gently. "You're more than human. You're my bond." Then the stone on her body shattered completely. The curse was broken, fully. The golden rune on Rain's palm burned once more, then slowly faded. In that moment, the planet itself responded. The sky cleared. The ground glowed faintly with ancient light. Far away, the core temple, once hidden by time and war, rose from the earth like a mountain being born. A voice echoed across the world. Deep, calm, knowing. Final key accepted. Path to the core is open. Complete the merge, or all will fall again. Rain coughed and smiled weakly. "Great. No pressure." Neva held him tighter. "We're almost there. One last step, then this world, and us, will be free." The core temple stood like a sleeping god. It rose from the land itself, made of white stone, glowing veins of light, and enormous floating rings that rotated in silence. The sky above it was clear now, as if even the clouds feared its power. Naiva and Rain stood at the base of the temple stairs. Behind them, the wounded guardian knelt in silence. It would not go further. "This is it," Neva said, her voice soft. "The heart of the world." Rain looked up. "So what happens now?" She turned to him, eyes glowing with light. "We go inside, and we complete the bond. If we succeed, the curse sleeps forever. The planet heals. If we fail, the curse wakes, and takes us both," Rain finished grimly. Neva nodded. "Are you sure, human?" He stepped forward, without hesitation. "I've come this far for you. I'm not leaving you now." They walked hand in hand into the core temple. Inside, the walls pulsed like a living heart. Ancient machines turned slowly. The floor shimmered with memories. Holograms of old warriors, human and alien, flickered like ghosts. At the center was a bonding circle. 2 platforms, one for her, one for him. Runes floated between them, ready to activate. Neva stepped into hers. Rain stepped into his. The moment they did, light surrounded them. The circle spun, rising into the air. The voice returned, not cruel like the curse, but calm and wise. "Are the bonded ready?" Neva looked at Rain. "Yes." Rain nodded. "Let's finish this." The air thickened. Their bodies glowed. Their souls opened. A memory unlocked inside Rain's mind, of a human man from long ago, bonded to a stonecaller just like Naiva. He gave his life to seal the curse back then. That's why the planet remembered him. That's why Rain had been chosen now. He was the echo of the first bond. Pain surged through both of them. Their veins glowed gold, their eyes filled with tears, not from hurt, but from overload. Power, emotion, fear, connection. It all rushed in at once. Neva gritted her teeth. "Don't break." Rain clenched his fists. "Not this time." Suddenly the curse screamed. The darkness they had sealed earlier returned. But it didn't. "Attack," it begged. "Let me in. Let me live. I was born from your fears. I am part of you." Rain stood tall. "You're not part of me. Neva raised her hand, voice strong. You are my mistake, not my master. Together they shouted, Be gone. A massive wave of energy exploded from the circle. The curse howled, shattered, disintegrated into light. The circle lowered. The temple went quiet. Their bodies stopped glowing. Their skin returned to normal. The markings faded. It was done. The bond was complete. The curse was no more. Neva stumbled, out of the circle, falling into Rain's arms. He caught her easily, holding her close. Tears streamed down her face. You saved me, not just my body, but all of me. Rain looked down at her and smiled softly. You saved me too. Outside the temple, the planet bloomed. Trees grew back. Rivers flowed clean. The skies turned blue again. For the first time in thousands of years, Elvara was free. The winds of Elvara were no longer cold. The skies stretched blue and endless, and golden light poured over the land like a gentle blessing. Where war once raged, flowers now bloomed. Where stone once swallowed life, greenery returned. Rain and Neva stood at the steps of the core temple, staring at the wide world below them. It feels quiet, Rain whispered. Not quiet, Neva said softly. At peace. They had done it. The curse was gone. The bond was complete. And yet, neither of them moved. What now? He asked. Neva looked at him. Now. You choose. He blinked. Choose? You can return to your people, she said, eyes searching his. Your home, your world. This temple will open a gate back to Earth. You were never meant to stay here. And you? She smiled gently. This is my world, my duty. But now, I live without a curse. I can rebuild. I can guide what's left of my people. Rain looked away, heart heavy. Feels like I just found something worth holding on to, and now I have to let go. Neva stepped closer. You don't have to. The bond we made, it's not just survival. It's connection, heart to heart. He turned to her. If I stay, will I still be human? She laughed softly. You will always be human, but now you're also a part of something bigger. This planet accepted you. So have I. They stood in silence. Then a soft rumble echoed from the ground. The temple behind them glowed one final time and opened a golden portal, its exit shimmering like sunlight on water. Rain stared at it. Earth. A way home. He took one step toward it, then stopped, turned around and looked at Neva. She didn't speak. She didn't beg. She just waited. He smiled. I've made my choice. He stepped away from the portal and toward her. Neva's eyes widened in surprise. You're staying? I've spent my life fighting for people who didn't even know I existed, he said. But here I matter to this world, to you. That's more than I ever had before. She placed her hand on his chest. Then stay, as my bondmate. Pulled her into a gentle embrace, not out of passion, but of promise. Behind them, the portal closed on its own, its duty complete. Above, the stars blinked softly. The danger was gone. But the memory of what they fought would live on forever. The Guardian, now fully repaired, stood silently near the temple steps, watching them. Rain and Neva walked down together, side by side, no longer bound by fear, but by choice, by love, by the bond that changed not just a girl, but an entire world.